Emma Carter was a journalist from Chicago. She had always admired the bravery of soldiers. She knew that they risked their lives every day to protect others. She had written many stories about them, but she wanted to do more than just write. She wanted to thank them in person. One day, she heard about a group of soldiers returning from a mission overseas. They were stationed at a military base outside the city. Emma decided to visit the base and show her gratitude. She contacted the base and requested permission to meet the soldiers. To her surprise, her request was approved. When Emma arrived at the base, she felt a little nervous. She had never been inside a military base before. She saw large buildings, tall fences, and soldiers in uniform walking around. She parked her car and walked toward the entrance. A young soldier checked her ID and let her in. A man in a uniform walked up to her. He had short brown hair and a strong build. He looked serious but kind. "Miss Carter?" he asked. "Yes, that's me," Emma replied. "I'm Captain James Reynolds. Welcome to our base. I heard you wanted to meet some of our soldiers." "Yes, I just wanted to thank them for their service," Emma said with a smile. James nodded. "That's very kind of you. Let me take you to them." Emma followed James to a large room where several soldiers were sitting and talking. They looked tired but relaxed. James introduced her to the group. "Everyone, this is Emma Carter. She's a journalist, and she came here to thank you all." The soldiers smiled and nodded. Emma shook hands with each of them. "I just wanted to say that I really appreciate everything you do. I write stories about heroes like you, but today, I wanted to meet you in person." One of the soldiers, a man named Daniel Brooks, laughed. "Well, we don't get visitors like this often. It's nice to be appreciated." Emma sat down and talked with them. They shared stories about their missions, their families, and their dreams. She listened carefully, taking in every word. She could see how much these men and women had sacrificed. After a while, James spoke up. "Emma, since you're here, would you like to see something special?" Emma raised an eyebrow. "Something special?" James smiled. "Yes, we're working on a new defense project. It's top secret, but I think you'll find it interesting." Emma hesitated. She was curious, but this sounded serious. "Are you sure it's okay?" James nodded. "I'll clear it with my superiors. Follow me." Emma followed James out of the room. He led her through a series of hallways until they reached a large door with a security panel. James scanned his ID, and the door slid open. Inside, the room was filled with screens, machines, and strange equipment. Scientists and engineers worked at their stations. Some were looking at blueprints, while others were testing devices. "This is our special research facility," James explained. "We are working on new technology to keep our country safe." Emma looked around in amazement. "This is incredible." Before James could say more, alarms suddenly blared through the room. Red lights flashed, and a robotic voice spoke over the intercom. "Emergency alert. Unidentified object detected in the sky." The room filled with tension. Soldiers and scientists rushed to their stations. Emma felt her heart pound. "What's happening?" she asked. James looked at a screen. "We don't know. Something just appeared in the sky, and we can't identify it." Emma turned to the large screen on the wall. A dark object hovered in the sky above the base. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. It was metallic, with glowing blue lights, and it didn't look like a plane or a drone. James grabbed a radio. "Get the pilots ready. We need to investigate this now." The base was in full action. Soldiers ran to their positions. Pilots rushed to their jets. Emma stood frozen, watching the scene unfold. Then, something shocking happened. The object in the sky moved, faster than anything Emma had ever seen. It darted across the sky, disappearing for a second, then reappeared in a different spot. "That's impossible," Daniel shouted. "No aircraft moves like that." The object suddenly shot a beam of light down toward the ground. It wasn't an attack, but it was scanning the base. The soldiers held their weapons. waiting for orders. "We need to get you out of here," James said, grabbing Emma's arm. "Wait, what if it's not dangerous?" she asked. James shook his head. "We can't take that chance. Let's move." Before they could leave, a voice echoed through the room. It wasn't coming from the speakers. It was coming from the object outside. "Humans, we come in peace." Everyone in the room froze. Emma's eyes widened. She could not believe what she was hearing. James stared at the screen. "Is this real? Are we actually hearing this?" The voice continued. "We seek those who are willing to help. The galaxy is in danger. We need warriors." Emma Carter stood frozen, staring at the screen. The mysterious voice had spoken clearly. It had come from the object hovering in the sky above the base. The voice claimed to come in peace, but it also spoke of danger. It needed warriors. Captain James Reynolds was just as stunned as Emma. He gripped his radio and ordered his team, "Hold your fire. Do not engage until we know more." The room was tense. Soldiers and scientists stared at the screen, waiting to see what would happen next. Then the voice spoke again. "We mean no harm. We seek help. The enemy is coming." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. "Who is the enemy?" she whispered. Before anyone could answer, the object in the sky moved again. It descended lower, hovering just above the ground. It was a massive metallic ship, glowing with strange blue lights. A door slowly opened on its side. James stepped forward. "Stay here," he told Emma. Then he signaled 2 soldiers to follow him. They moved cautiously toward the ship. Emma couldn't just stand back. Her curiosity was too strong. Ignoring James' warning, she followed them, staying a few steps behind. As they reached the ship, a figure appeared at the entrance. It was tall, humanoid, but not human. Its skin was silver, and its eyes glowed faintly. It wore a dark suit with strange symbols on its chest. "My name is Commander Raltor," the being said. "I come from the planet Phaedra. Your world is in great danger. We need your help." James exchanged a glance with his soldiers. "Danger from what?" he asked. Raltor stepped forward. "A war is coming. A powerful enemy known as the Zarkan fleet is moving through the galaxy. They destroy planets. They take what they want. If Earth is not prepared, it will fall." Emma's heart pounded. "Why us? Why come here?" Raltor turned to her. "Because humans have courage. We have seen it before. And because you have something special. Something even you do not know yet." James frowned. "What do you mean?" Before Raltor could answer, alarms blared across the base. A soldier ran up to James, his face pale. "Sir, we have multiple incoming objects. Fast-moving. Not from Earth." James turned to Raltor. "Is it them? The Zarkan?" Raltor nodded grimly. "They are here." Suddenly, the sky lit up with streaks of red and blue. Strange, dark ships appeared, moving at impossible speeds. They fired beams of energy toward the base. Explosions rocked the ground. Soldiers ran to their positions, firing back with their weapons. "We need to get inside," James shouted. He grabbed Emma's arm and pulled her toward Raltor's ship. Emma's mind raced. Just a few hours ago, she had come to thank some soldiers. Now she was running for her life in the middle of an alien attack. Inside Raltor's ship, the technology was unlike anything she had ever seen. The walls glowed with soft blue light. Floating screens displayed battle maps. The air smelled different, almost metallic. "Strap in," Raltor commanded. "We must leave now." James hesitated. "We can't just leave our men behind." Raltor pressed a button on his wrist device. "Do not worry. My people will help." Outside, more ships appeared. These ones were sleeker, brighter. They fired at the Zarkan attackers, giving the soldiers on the ground chance to escape. James clenched his fists. "All right, let's go." The ship shook as it lifted off the ground. Emma watched through a window as the base below grew smaller. She saw soldiers retreating, enemy ships crashing, and fire spreading. She turned to Raltor. "Where are we going?" "To a safe place," Raltor said. "A place where you will understand everything." Emma looked at James. He was calm, but she could see the tension in his eyes. Daniel Brooks and Sarah Mitchell, two other soldiers from the base, sat nearby, watching everything silently. They had escaped too, but they were just as confused as she was. "How long until we get there?" James asked. Raltor pressed some buttons. "A few hours. Rest if you can. You will need your strength." Emma leaned back in her seat. She was exhausted, but her mind wouldn't stop racing. A war. An enemy. And now she was on an alien ship, flying toward the unknown. She had wanted to thank some soldiers, but now she was part of something much bigger. Emma Carter sat in the alien ship, her hands gripping the seat tightly. The hum of the engines filled the room as they traveled through space. She still couldn't believe what had happened. Just hours ago, she was on Earth, thanking soldiers. Now she was light years away, heading toward an unknown place with Captain James Reynolds, Daniel Brooks, Sarah Mitchell, and the alien commander, Raltor. She turned to James. "Where exactly are we going?" James glanced at Raltor. "That's a good question. Maybe our new friend can answer that." Raltor stood in front of a glowing screen. "We are traveling to Vedra 7, a secure base where the Alliance is gathering. There you will learn everything about this war." "Alliance?" Daniel asked. "Who else is fighting against the Zarkan?" Raltor sighed. "Many species. Some have lost their homes. Others are still fighting to protect their planets. Earth is in danger too. The Zarkan have set their eyes on your world. That is why we need your help." Emma shook her head. "But we're just humans. We don't have the technology or experience to fight in a space war." Raltor looked at her. "Humans have courage, and something more. There is a reason we came to you first." Before Emma could ask what he meant, the ship's lights dimmed. A soft voice echoed through the room. "Approaching Vedra 7. Outside the window, Emma saw a massive space station floating near a bright blue planet. It was enormous, with large ships docking and flying around it. Some looked similar to Earth's planes, while others had strange shapes and glowing energy fields. The ship docked, and the doors opened. Emma followed the others into a large hallway. The walls were covered in strange symbols. Aliens of different shapes and sizes walked past, some wearing armor, others carrying devices she didn't understand. A tall alien with golden skin approached them. "Commander Raltor, welcome back. And these must be the humans." Raltor nodded. "Yes, they will be important to our mission." The golden-skinned alien studied them. "They do not look like warriors." James crossed his arms. "Looks can be deceiving." The alien smiled slightly. "Then let us see what they can do. Follow me." They were led to a large room filled with screens, maps, and weapons. A holographic image of the galaxy floated in the center. Raltor pressed a button, and red dots appeared on the map. "These are the places the Zarkan have already attacked," he said. "They take resources, capture people, and destroy everything in their path. Soon, they will reach Earth." Sarah frowned. "Why Earth? What do they want from us?" Raltor hesitated. "Earth has something valuable. A rare energy source hidden deep within your planet. The Zarkan want it. If they take it, they will become unstoppable." Emma felt a chill. "Then we have to stop them." Daniel laughed nervously. "And how do we do that? We don't even know how to fight in space." The golden-skinned alien stepped forward. "That is why you will train. If you want to protect your world, you must learn our ways." Emma looked at James, Sarah, and Daniel. She could see the same fear in their eyes. But she also saw determination. They had no choice. If they wanted to save Earth, they had to fight. "All right," James said. "Teach us." For the next few days, Emma and the others trained harder than ever before. They learned how to use advanced weapons, how to pilot small spacecraft, and how to work with alien technology. Emma struggled at first, but she refused to give up. One day, during a training session, Emma was testing a scanner device when an alarm blared through the station. The screen in front of her flashed red. "What's happening?" she asked. Raltor entered the room, his face serious. "The Zarkan have found us. They are attacking Vedra 7. Emma's heart pounded. The war had come to them sooner than expected. She grabbed her training weapon and looked at James. "Are we ready for this?" James nodded. "We don't have a choice. Let's fight." As the enemy ships closed in, Emma realized that she was no longer just a journalist. She was now part of something much bigger. She had come to thank soldiers, but now she was fighting alongside them to save the galaxy. Alarms echoed through the station as red warning lights flashed across the hallways. Emma Carter's heart pounded as she followed Captain James Reynolds, Daniel Brooks, and Sarah Mitchell toward the armory. They had trained hard, but now it was real. Raltor ran beside them, his silver eyes focused. "We must get to the command center," he said. "We need to organize our defenses before it is too late." Emma gripped the small energy rifle she had been practicing with. Her hands were shaking, but she took a deep breath. She couldn't let fear take over. She looked at James, who moved with steady confidence. He was a soldier. He had seen battle before, but this was different. They were fighting an enemy not from Earth. They reached the command center, where large screens displayed the battle outside. The Zarkan ships were moving in fast, their dark metallic bodies reflecting the light from the nearby planet. The Alliance fleet was already engaging them, bright blue laser blasts lighting up the space around them. A tall alien officer with green skin and 4 arms pointed at the screen. "The Zarkan are attempting to breach our shields. If they succeed, they will land their troops inside the station." "How much time do we have?" James asked. "Minutes," Raltor replied. "We need to stop them before they enter." Emma's stomach twisted. "How do we do that?" Raltor turned to her. "You and the others will help defend the main hangar bay. If the Zarkan land, they will come through there." Daniel exhaled sharply. "So we're really doing this? Fighting aliens?" Sarah checked her weapon. "Looks like we don't have a choice." Emma nodded. "Let's go." They ran toward the hangar, where dozens of soldiers and aliens were already preparing for battle. Large defensive turrets hummed as they charged their energy blasts. The main doors were shut tight, but the warning lights above them blinked red. The Zarkan were trying to force their way in. James pointed to a barricade. "Get behind there. We hold the line." Emma crouched behind the barrier, gripping her rifle. She looked at Daniel, who was breathing hard. "You okay?" she asked. "Not really," he admitted, "but I'll fight." A deep metallic groan filled the air as the doors began to crack open. The dark mist seeped through the gaps, and then, with a loud crash, the metal tore apart. The Zarkan stormed in. They were taller than humans, their bodies covered in thick, dark armor. Their eyes glowed red, and in their hands they held strange weapons that fired green energy blasts. "Open fire," James yelled. Emma pulled the trigger, and a bright blue bolt shot from her rifle, hitting one of the Zarkan in the chest. The creature staggered but kept coming. She fired again, this time aiming for the head. The Zarkan collapsed. Energy blasts filled the hangar as the battle raged. Emma ducked as a green shot whizzed past her, burning a hole in the metal wall behind her. She turned and fired at another enemy. Daniel and Sarah fought beside her, their shots precise and deadly. James moved like a true soldier, taking down Zarkan with perfect aim. He signaled for them to keep pushing forward. "We can't let them take this room. Hold your ground." More Zarkan entered, but Alliance reinforcements arrived too. A group of Vedran warriors, Raltor among them, charged into the fight. Their weapons were more advanced, their movements faster. They struck with deadly precision. Emma felt a rush of adrenaline. She had never thought she would be in a battle, but here she was, fighting to protect not just herself, but Earth and the entire galaxy. Then she saw something terrifying. A massive Zarkan warrior, bigger than the rest, stepped through the broken doorway. It carried a heavy cannon, and its eyes locked onto her. Emma froze. The Zarkan aimed its weapon. Before it could fire, James tackled her to the ground. A green energy blast hit the wall where she had just been standing. The heat from it burned the air around them. James pulled her up. "Stay focused. Move." Emma nodded, shaking off the fear. She aimed her rifle and shot at the giant Zarkan's arm, making it drop its weapon. Sarah and Daniel joined in, hitting it from different angles. The creature roared in pain before collapsing. The battle lasted for what felt like hours, but finally, the last Zarkan fell. The hangar was filled with smoke and the smell of burned metal. Bodies of fallen soldiers and Zarkan warriors lay scattered. Emma leaned against a wall, breathing hard. "We did it. We actually did it." Raltor stepped forward. "This was only the beginning. The Zarkan now know that Earth will fight back. They will come in greater numbers next time." James wiped sweat from his face. "Then we need to be ready." Emma looked around at her team. They had survived their first battle. But the war was far from over. She had come to thank some soldiers. Now she was fighting alongside them to save the galaxy. Emma Carter stood on the bridge of the Alliance command ship, looking at the massive Zarkan fleet approaching in the distance. The final battle was here. The enemy was coming in full force, determined to take Earth's hidden energy source and destroy everything in their path. James Reynolds adjusted his rifle beside her. "This is it. We either stop them here or Earth falls." Raltor stepped forward, his silver eyes locked onto the glowing holographic map. "We have a plan. The fleet will engage the Zarkan forces head-on, while a small team sneaks onto their command ship. If we take out their leader, the rest will fall into chaos." Emma nodded. "And let me guess, we're part of that small team." Raltor gave her a slight smile. "You catch on quickly." Sarah Mitchell checked her weapon. "All right, let's end this." The battle outside erupted in flashes of light as Alliance ships clashed with the Zarkan invaders. Emma, James, Sarah, Daniel, and Raltor rushed toward the docking bay, where a stealth craft awaited them. The plan was simple but dangerous: infiltrate the enemy flagship and eliminate their leader, General Vroth. As the ship approached the enemy vessel, Emma's stomach twisted. The flagship was enormous, its dark metal surface covered in glowing red energy lines. Automated turrets fired at them, but their pilots skillfully dodged the blasts. "Brace for impact," the pilot shouted. The ship crashed through a docking bay on the Zarkan flagship. The team quickly jumped out, weapons ready. The enemy was already there, their red eyes glowing in the dim light. "Move," James ordered. Emma fired her energy rifle, hitting a Zarkan warrior in the chest. The creature fell, but more charged at them. The team pushed forward, making their way through the dark corridors of the ship. Raltor led the way, his alien blade slicing through the enemies. "The command center is ahead," he called. They reached a massive door. Sarah placed a small explosive on it. "Stand back." The explosion shook the ship as the doors burst open. Inside, General Vroth stood waiting, surrounded by his guards. He was twice the size of any other Zarkan, his black armor glowing with energy. "Foolish humans," he growled. "You think you can stop me?" Emma tightened her grip on her weapon. "We're going to try." The battle inside the command center was fierce. Vroth's guards fought with unmatched strength, but the team held their ground. Emma dodged a blast and fired back, hitting an enemy in the shoulder. James and Sarah took down two more, while Raltor faced Vroth in a one-on-one duel. The Zarkan general was strong, but Raltor was faster. With a quick movement, he struck Vroth's chest with his blade. The general roared in pain, But before he could attack again, Emma and James fired their weapons together. Vroth collapsed, his body sparking with energy. As soon as he fell, alarms blared across the ship. Without their leader, the Zarkan forces outside hesitated. Alliance ships took advantage of the moment, pushing back and destroying the enemy fleet. Emma took a deep breath. Did we do it? Raltor nodded. Yes, the Zarkan forces are retreating. Sarah laughed in relief. I can't believe we survived. The team quickly returned to their ship and escaped the flagship before it exploded. As they rejoined the Alliance fleet, cheers erupted over the communication channels. The war was finally over. Back on the station, Emma looked at Earth through the viewing window. She had come to thank some soldiers, but instead, she had become one. She had helped save not just her planet, but the entire galaxy. James walked up beside her. So, what now? Emma smiled. I think I'm ready for whatever comes next.